What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 111 of the Offshore Gamescast. I'm Dylan. Dave is here. I don't want to talk about this game today. We're talking about WrestleQuest. Hi, Dave.
It built up, which I appreciate. I was hoping for a lot more emphasis right out the gate, but I can feel it building up, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah, the longer this episode goes on, the more I'm gonna break down and the more upset I'm gonna get.
This is what it's like every time we talk about a game for me, it seems. Granted, the next game we'll talk about for me, I actually enjoyed, but still, like you just want to, you can't help it. You just go off. The gamer takes over, and what are you gonna do?
It's if you can't tell, I'm not very high on WrestleQuest. Dave, what are we talking about next week?
Next week on the 14th, we'll be talking about that game I have been enjoying, which is Immortals of Avium. Well, I enjoyed. I beat it. I'm a little busy right now.
You got your homework done.
Yeah, I just gotta. Actually, I already started the doc on that. I'm so good.
Wow. A week after that, September 21st, Lyle will be talking about Chance of Senar? Is that how you say that?
Senar?
Senar?
Something like that. Senar. There's two A's.
Lyle's not here. If you couldn't tell, that's my fault. It's usually my fault. My fault. She will be back next week if all goes as planned. And as always, if you enjoy us on any podcasting platform or on YouTube where you can see our faces, and most of the time you'll be able to see some gameplay, please leave a rating, leave a review, leave a comment, follow, subscribe, whatever the term is for whatever platform you are on.
Just leave.
To support us. Don't leave. Stay.
Okay.
No. Don't leave. All right, let's move on to Dave's notes here.
Oh, shit. I just noticed that. I am so sorry, sir. Oh, God. Oh, okay. Take two.
One day, we got to set up the camera one day to like have the notes open for people to see on video.
We could and scroll through. Said before, once we get rich and famous, we get to that point where we start selling bags of merch, we'll sell copies of our old docs in like a book. We'll sell a book of like seasons 1 through 6, and like it'll be good, and we'll sign it because that's what people want. They want you to sign it,
of course,
and then we'll send it out.
We're talking about WrestleQuest today. It's developed by Mega Cat Studios, published by Skybound Games.
That's not the release date. That's not the release date.
No, didn't come out on June 22nd. Came out on August 8th, 2023, and it came out on literally everything, including Netflix. This got delayed. It was initially
going to come out. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah, everything about this is a mess. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about this game. Everything is wrong.
Dylan, can you answer me right off the bat? Would you consider WrestleQuest to be a heel?
I consider WrestleQuest to have go away heat.
All right, I don't know what that means, and we're gonna move on.
So no, we're gonna do this. That means, all right, there's heels in wrestling, right? They're the bad guys, but you know that like you need for the story, you need bad guys. There has to be someone for the good guys to fight. When someone has go away heat, you don't like them because you don't like them as a person, or perhaps the character you think sucks. Not because like, oh, you're a dick, so I don't like you. It's like, oh, your character makes me want to not watch this.
So just general common sense.
It's like, it's all right. I'm trying to think of like what's a show? What's like one of your favorite shows?
Mr. Robot.
Is there a character in Mr. Robot that you're like, I really don't like this character? Because like you thought they were a stupid character. You don't think they should have been in the show.
No, that show's perfect.
Okay, well, there have been characters in other shows like that for you, I am sure. That would be go away here.
Let's go with the standard for the community, and we'll go with Ava from Borderlands 3 for 200.
There you go. Go away heat. You did it. Yeah, this says go away heat. I have some caveats to throw out there before we jump into this.
Yes. What is it?
The caveats of the game.
Well, what are the caveats?
I didn't finish it.
Okay.
I legitimately, I'm not very far in this game. I'm far enough to have my issues with it, and while I have not exactly had a lot of free time to play it, I have had no desire to keep going back to this. Nothing about this game hooked me at all. With that said, here's what the game is. I want to throw that out there, so this is like, I didn't see everything this game has to offer. I want to be fair about it.
Can you give a brief a brief memory, and can we reminisce real quick about your thoughts of the game when we were at PAX?
I mean,
or your impressions.
I thought it was cool. I really only played for 2-3 minutes, something like that.
We were there for 20 minutes at the booth.
Okay, well,
you took your time.
I walked around, I explored a little bit, and I did one fight.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool concept, but it wasn't exactly enough to
It was a lot of dev talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's jump into this. This is a turn-based RPG in a wrestling world. Something I didn't realize at PAX, and I realize now, is that it's toys. Everything is toys.
Oh.
You're toy wrestlers.
I thought it was just like a cartoon art style.
Nope, you're toys. And it's hosted it's okay. All right.
Okay.
There's a podcast.
Hey, I know that.
Run by Conrad Thompson. He's a real person with a real wrestling podcast. And this game is them telling the story that I guess they played with their toys.
Oh.
And then you're the toys.
Is this just like a play-by-play reenactment of just what they did in imaginary land?
Yes, it will be they'll be in the podcast studio. It'll be Conrad Thompson, Jeff Jarrett's on the show. And a couple other there's a lot of real people, real wrestlers, real people in the wrestling community in this game. So it'll be they're in a studio talking about it, all right, let's jump back to Muchacho Man and what he was up to, and then it goes back to the game that you're playing. This feels really weird to me because it makes no sense. I don't get it. Doesn't work.
Just
I'm
two
sure they were just
grown,
trying to get
sweaty men in a room on a carpet, juice boxes, playing with their toys. Now back to you, Dan.
So, with that in mind,
oh wow,
you play as two characters. You switch back and forth. First one is Muchacho Man. He is Macho Man.
Mm.
That's very clearly who he's inspired by. Except he is, I don't know if they should have said from Mexico, but he is Hispanic, very lucha libre, and so his whole thing is amigo. It's Macho Man, but amigo,
brother.
Yeah,
Cream of the crop.
Yep, that type of thing. And then there's Brink Logan. Oh,
Brock
Muchacho
Lesnar.
Man. Hold on, Muchacho Man thinks wrestling is real, even though he's a wrestler.
Huh.
He doesn't know it's scripted.
Okay.
And whenever someone's it's scripted, he's like, what are you talking about? And then he does a real match, and sometimes it'll be fighting against people. They're like, what is going on? I'm supposed to win.
But my brain, just for some reason, thought of the perspective no, Muchacho Man, wrestling doesn't exist. And he's like, no, it's real. It's real. He goes, it never happened.
Not in that sense. And then you have Brink Logan.
Brock Lesnar.
He is the child of a man who runs a notable indie wrestling company, let's say. So he is a wrestler, and he's part of that promotion, and he's basically he helps the family. helps the family run the wrestling business. So he'll do a lot of like, he'll go out there and lose a lot, but it's for the business and for the family.
Dominic Toretto.
Yeah. Okay.
Family.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah. So they're both these characters are switching back and forth. They do each have their own parties, but we'll get to that. They're both not that type of party. A cast of characters that follow them around. They're both trying to make it in the wrestling world, right? And Mr. LF Font. Say the name real quick for me, Dave. Say it like quickly.
Elephant.
There you go. It's a toy elephant. Mr. LF Font wants to. He's a promoter, wrestling promoter, and runs the biggest promotion around. And he's buying up all the small promotions because he wants to control all of wrestling, and he wants to make it all scripted.
But it's real.
Well, that's why Muchacho Man has such a problem with it.
Oh my God. What is he going to do about it?
That's the basic setup for the stories. You switch back and forth. You could go around like talking to people. It's kind of cheeky writing. It's okay. There's a lot of cameos in there of real wrestlers. So like I mentioned, Jeff Jarrett, he is in this game. At one point you fight the Road Warriors. They're in this game. Andre the Giant. Like there's a lot of real wrestlers here.
They were so happy about what was it? Was he talking about Macho Man? They were so happy when they got the rights, or was it Andre?
No, that was Andre.
Andre, they were so happy they got the rights. So sweet. Hey boss, I took a shit on the bed. What the fuck, Andre?
What?
I told you there was the one TikTok when I was getting all the wrestling TikToks. There was a story about Andre the Giant, and he's like, "Hey boss, come to my room." And they walk in, and he just took a shit on the bed, and they're like, "What the fuck, Andre?" And he's like, that's my favorite thing ever. You guys gotta take a look at this.
Check this shit out.
What the fuck, Andre?
Okay, so yeah, let's get into combat. A lot of this game is combat. There is a story happening. It's kind of whatever. Like there's nothing gripping about it. Like I said, the writing can be kind of funny, but let's get to combat, which is where my problems really start to come. So this is a turn-based RPG. All the fights happen in a ring, and this will be the basic setup for any match.
How long is a match?
It's
because I only remember little bits of the gameplay when you were playing, but I know that they brought in like obviously realistic wrestling shit into it and obviously made it more arcadey. But it wasn't times like rounds.
It's just turn-based. There's no rounds necessarily.
Oh, okay.
So it's just the fight's over when someone wins. So, I mean, you think of it like Pokemon. If you come across a wild Pokemon, it's going to be a quicker fight. If you're going against a gym leader, it's going to be a big thing.
Okay.
So sometimes, if you're going against a real wrestler and not a creature, the match will start with promos, which they'll say something and they'll get hype for it, and we'll get to hype it a little bit. And then you have usually 3 or 4 different options to pick from to respond. And there's always an obvious, like, yeah, this is the good one. The other ones suck. So you pick the good one, and then you get hype, and that helps build your hype meter to start a match. Again, we'll get there. So when you're in a match, so turn-based, you have different options. Start with basic attack. This would just be you run up to them and you punch them or you kick them or whatever the basic attack happens to be for that character. And most of the time when you hit them, and most attacks can do this, you hit them, they will bounce back against the ropes. Well, first up, you hit them and there's a quick time event. You hit one of the face buttons. It's a random one that pops up. Then there's a good chance it will bounce back against the ropes and come towards you, and it's another quick time event. for you to hit a face button, and if you hit it, you get a second hit on them. If you miss it, they give you a little counter hit.
Love little puns thrown in. Unintentional puns.
What did I pun?
Face buttons. Gotta hit the face buttons.
All right, you gotta hit the heel buttons. So that's how basic attacks work. There's always quick time events. There's gimmicks, and in this, gimmicks are just special moves. They cost like ability points to use. Each character has a certain amount of ability points. It's
pile driver.
Yeah, sure. It's stuff like that.
Hammer buster.
Like one of the Muchacho Man's, his basic one is south of the border stunner.
What does that do?
It's like a Stone Cold stunner.
You do that to me. You do that to me a lot.
Yeah, I give you stunners all the time.
yeah, it hurts.
So that's like his basic one. Those will be more powerful attacks. Again, quick time events are usually involved in some way. There's tag team gimmicks, which you have multiple people in your party. It's typically a 3v3. And what you have to do is there's different combinations based on the characters. One character has to set up the tag team attack, which makes them like kind of stand towards the front. And then whichever character you're doing the attack with has to then use the tag team attack, and they do it together. That makes sense? Did I explain that in a sensible way?
It's like tennis. You set up the first hit. No, it's like volleyball.
Yeah, it's like volleyball.
It's like volleyball.
It's like volleyball.
It's like riding a volleyball.
In my experience, these are not worth the ability points that they cost. Because you're basically using 2 turns to do one attack. You're spending a lot of ability points, and it doesn't do that much damage. Now, again, I'm relatively early in the game. I'm not in late game. They could get better. That's just my experience. You can use items, which a lot of the times is just like use duct tape for healing. Or you can taunt. Taunting, you'll do some sort of little move or taunt thing that pisses them off. But really what you're doing is you're building your height meter. There's a height meter at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the better you do, and the more varied your attacks are, the more that height meter builds. There are some moves where you need your height meter to be high enough to be able to do. Also, it will do other things where, you fill up the first bar of the height meter, you're going to get more money when you win this match. You fill up the second bar, your attacks do more damage. Now,
this sounds a lot like the momentum bar from Atlas Fallen.
If you're missing quick time events, if you are doing nothing varied, you're just doing the same moves over and over and over again, if you are trying to pin and you're failing at it, your height meter will go down. It can even start to go negative, which is when it's benefiting your opponents. So taunting tends to always have, it will build your hype, but it will always have a negative based on the character or your class, if you will, which we'll get to that. But it will always have like you do a taunt, you gain hype, but now your attacks do less damage, or your party member's defense goes down. It's meant to be like a give and take. I've never come across a situation where I'm doing taunts unless I am trying to kill time without beating my enemies to complete special objectives that boss battles will have, which will be like, let these opponents do this attack. They can only do that attack if like these requirements are met. So, I can't beat them in the meantime, so I'm just going to sit here and taunt over and over and over again so they can knock out one of my party members and then try to pin them, and then I kick out, and now I did that. Pinning. If it is a real wrestler and not a creature, because they're toys, you fight like a lot of mice. The creatures, you just have to...
I'm going back to the 2 grown sweaty men playing with their toys, and I'm just imagining one of them seeing a mouse or a rat run by, and they just take the leg of the wrestler and they're like slamming it on the body, just trying to stop it. But it's like in their minds and imagination land, they're they're wrestling and screaming and smashing.
That's what's happening here. So you beat those types of enemies, they're creatures. All you have to do is lower their health bar and like they're out. You're fighting against a person. You have to lower their health bar, and then they will kind of be knocked down, where they're down on the ground. Then you have to pin them. And the pinning thing is one of those mini games where it's like there's a green spot in a bar moving back and forth, and an arrow moving back and forth on top of it.
Or hit it at the right time.
Yeah, you have to hit it at the right time. And you have 10 seconds to do a 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's just like that. Yep. Good job. You're doing so good. If you miss once, they kick out. And they come back with a little bit of health. Sometimes there's an entrance to the match, which you get to pick from a whole bunch of different things. What happens during your entrance? You get some songs to pick from. You get like what color smoke, what color pyro, stuff like that. It does, some of them give you some benefits entering a match. They seem to only really be for like big matches or like matches in a that are like in a wrestling league, not just out in the world. Here's my problem. You know what? We'll save the problems. I'll do all the problems at the end. Let's just go over the facts before getting to the emotions.
Into the opinions.
Yeah. You have party members, depending on which character you are. So like Muchacho Man meets a whole bunch of different characters. And then Brink Logan has his family. So like his brother's a wrestler, his sister's a wrestler. That's kind of tends to be his party. At some point, you do start having more party members than just 3. So you get to kind of pick. And then also managers. You will get managers, which those are the people that come out with wrestlers that don't actually wrestle. They will either just like talk on the microphone, or they'll be outside the ring cheering them on. And if they're a heel, they're probably cheating. They give you just kind of like passive abilities or different abilities that you can activate at different times during the match. So one of them I think is you get like a much stronger attack if you're less than 25% HP type deal. There's different wrestling styles. These are the classes. And I think these are kind of silly because you'll have, well, first off, they do the thing where they all try to do like a give and take. So I don't remember the names of them, but
do any have guns?
You do recruit a wrestler who shoots with a gun, yeah.
He's the winner. There's no beat him.
I actually wasn't thrilled with him. So you'll have like a powerhouse who's supposed to be like the strong guy, but then like his their normal attacks or basic attacks will do 15% less damage. Then you have a technician who does like, if you're using them for debuffs a lot, then like you should set their style, their class to tactician. My issue is you get to set it for each character, but each character very clearly has the style they're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So like you recruit one character. Oh, hey, look, she has a whole bunch of healing abilities. I should probably set her to the healer. It's kind of silly to me. I don't know why you would ever mix and match.
Yeah.
It just... you get gear. You can find different gear to equip. It's very basic. It doesn't change the way you look or anything. It's just you stats better. New gear.
It's usually how it goes.
There's an overworld map, which you use to travel between little towns or dungeons.
I remember this.
It's just a thing where you zoom out and you could see the towns, and you're just like a little sprite running across the world.
Yep.
So the towns are usually filled with people that you could talk to once that will just repeat the same line to you over and over and over again every time you talk to them.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Pure NPC.
Hi.
Or there's every once in a while there'll be a side quest, but usually not. Dungeons you're going through, there's enemies everywhere. There's usually traps to avoid. We'll get to some of the issues I have with that later. And both the towns and the dungeons will have like a chest meter count, a chest count for each. Like you find a treasure chest with usually a gear in it or an item, and like 1 out of 5 treasure chests found. They're fine. That's the only reason to ever explore anything, is to see if there's a treasure chest. And again, references everywhere. You will find like giant statues, which I guess are supposed to just be like big action figures. And you'll find other people kind of crowding around them. They're like their own little town. Sometimes they have a side quest there. And they're all based off like real legendary wrestlers.
Legendary.
Epic. Yeah. Let's start talking about my problems with the game. These are most of the facts. I didn't go over every single thing. I this is the overview of facts. I don't like this game. First off, my main issue is that it's so fucking slow. Everything is slow. So first off, the story is like, it's one of those games, you're not playing this for the story. This is not like a big narrative adventure. There's a story that gets you from point A to point B with some cheeky writing. It's fine. It serves its purpose. Your basic walking speed, slow. Hold down B to sprint. You're going to always want to hold down B to sprint because you move so fucking slow. And you know what? You move a little bit faster when you're sprinting. It is still way too fucking slow. They either need to make things smaller or you faster. There's no reason for that. You know what else is slow?
It's like music to my ears.
Fights. You know, you want to know why the fights are so fucking slow? Because every single attack, you have to watch the whole animation and you have to do the quick time events, and that's why it's so slow. You can't just like, it's not like Pokemon where you're in a fight, you know, and you're just like, your team is already powerful enough, so you're just mashing the button, or you're quickly going to the attack that you know the quick way to get to, mashing through it, your fight's done in seconds. No, you don't get to do that here, because every single attack that ever exists has quick time events, and every single attack your enemies do have their own animations and quick time events. So as you can imagine, just going through a dungeon with all these enemies everywhere takes for fucking ever, for no reason. It's so slow. In the beginning, the first couple of hours, I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then it really quickly got to the point of, okay, another fight. Let's sit here for minutes. Getting through it. Minutes. The whole weird podcast thing is stupid. It makes no sense. If you want to do toy style, it should have just been like, okay, yeah, they're toys. You didn't need that. I also don't love the toy style, but that I can admit it's just like a personal preference thing. I'm sure there are people that are into it.
I like my headcanon of grown men using kids' toys to
that would be better.
To death.
I like that. That I would be into. And now with the technical issues with the game. First off, for whatever reason, if you're in a town and it's big enough, the space is big enough, and you're trying to move around, the game will just kind of... It's not dropping frames necessarily, but it'll do a thing where, like, let's just say you're running up, right? You're running up on the screen. It will, like... As you're running forward, it will kind of keep like hitching back a little bit. So it's not just like smooth walking. I don't really know. I don't know if I got in the gameplay that's here. I hope I did. I don't know if this episode's going to be long enough to get to the point where that was happening.
Going too fast for the camera.
It kind of felt like that, even though you move so fucking slow. And then...
Do you have like a separate camera control?
No. Because it's just like top down. I guess I should have said this. It's top down, like sprite based. It's like an old. It's like Link to the Past.
Right.
Technical. So yeah, there was that, and then this is where it really started to get. This is where it was breaking me. Where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was in one dungeon, and this dungeon introduced the splitting up of your party. So you'll have like one party of 2 characters and another party of 2 characters. That's usually because there's 2 paths with like levers at the end that need to be hit at the same time. It's fine, whatever. The issue is, so first off, you can switch back and forth with a shoulder button, and every time you switch, there's a cooldown to switch back to the other party. Why? I don't know. I guess to make the game slower, because it's already I guess it was too fast for them.
Whoa, guys, we gotta slow this down. I beat the game twice already.
Yeah, so that was annoying when I'm trying to like, oh, I just want to do this quick thing, then switch back. Like, nope, I gotta sit here, wait, then I can switch back. But then for whatever reason, you'd switch, and then the game would just be like, you can't interact with things anymore. No, barrels to break, you can't break them. Switches to hit, you can't switch them. Just can't do it.
Just like the game, 2023 has caveats. You get great games, but not all of them work.
Yeah. The only way to fix that was to save the game, go to the main menu, quit the game, reload the game, and jump back in. I had to do that about 5 times in one dungeon.
Damn.
Also, there was something that was like, oh, this is cool, and then no. So they had a little mini game in one of the towns. It was a rhythm game.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like straight up like DDR style, where they were like on the side, the 4 arrows, if you will, and then you would have to hit the right button as the buttons went up towards the arrows. When they're in the arrow, you hit the button that corresponds with it in time. You want to know how they made their rhythm game?
Ooh.
Yeah, music playing, and then just randomness. Nothing is to the songs at all. It's just random buttons. And then, and of course, this is just like a side mini game, so I'm kind of being a little harsh on this, but it bothered me because I enjoy me some rhythm games.
Oh, I know.
And I enjoy me some mini games.
Oh, I know.
Not only that, but you know how, let's say you're playing Guitar Hero, right? A note's coming, you're a little off, and it counts as like a miss.
Yeah.
It won't be like the note passes, you missed. 1 miss. In this, if you hit like a little early, it'll be like miss, as it's like still going through, and it just fucks everything up. And then for whatever reason, the notes come slower after you miss a single note and have to like build speed back up. But again, it's not to the time of any song. There's a song playing, but it's not to the time whatsoever. It's stupid.
Damn. How'd they get the packs? How did they get something set up at PAX?
It's just, the game is so slow.
How'd they get Jeff Jarrett?
Money. The money all went to the wrestlers and not to the fucking game.
And he was still on Twitter, just chilling.
He's in AEW, and he's having matches. He was just covered in blood the other day, and was being chased by what's his name? The Leatherface with a chainsaw. They did a partnership. AEW did a partnership with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game that just came out.
Yeah, I thought so.
And as they had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match, and he was part of it.
Weren't we lucky we breathed that same air?
Oh yeah.
So what's better, this or Fight Forever?
Fight Forever. Fight Forever wasn't slow. It was just empty. This was slow.
And empty.
Slow. It's not empty if you really enjoy the combat, I guess, but
when half of the match is you doing combat and the other half is you watching the opponent do combat.
That's the thing, and it's just like QuickTime events I'm generally fine with, right? Like if you have QuickTime events in your game, cool. I think they have their place for letting you do cool, flashy, over-the-top shit that would be complicated to do with real moves and buttons. Great. I'm cool with that. Not every single thing in a game needs to be QuickTime events. Just
some people would disagree.
If you can't tell, I wasn't jiving with this game. I had literally no desire at any point to keep playing it. It was just boring. Now, it's not the worst game I ever played.
What is the worst game you ever played?
Lord of the Rings Gollum. That is easily the worst game I've ever played. That game is hot garbage. Go listen to our episode on that if you enjoyed me ranting.
It's a good
that
episode.
Game is so bad. This has like something. There's something there.
A little bit.
It feels like they had a good concept. I like some of the stuff. I like having some people need to be pinned. That's cool. Like the whole wrestling theme to it. But if this wasn't a wrestling theme and this was just a turn-based RPG without something like that attached to it, no one would look twice at it. It's not good. I'm giving it Dave wants me to give it a perfect out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10.
Oh, close.
almost there.
Missed it by that much.
I guess another caveat is that I was not in the best place these last couple of weeks, and I had no desire to be doing this. I had no time.
But video games are supposed to make things better and bring us out.
Yes.
I
wanted to do was play Baldur's Gate 3 and not this. And instead, I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 for weeks.
There's so many better games out right now. Specifically, right now.
I don't recommend this game to anyone. Unless the only people I recommend this to if you're a huge fan of Conrad Thompson and his podcast, that's there. So maybe that'll do something for you if you like him playing with toys. And maybe if you're not like a huge gamer, but you're big into wrestling, this could be a fun thing, like an interactive wrestling thing. Don't do it. I'm disappointed. 4 out of 10.
You're still nicer than me. I'm over here. Atlas Fallen. No one's fucking buying this game for the fucking story.
I think it was like, I think the Steam rating was mostly positive, but when you go into the Steam reviews, there were some.
Yeah, mostly positive. It's got a 7 out of 10 on
There
Steam.
were some people that were agreeing with my thoughts.
Visually, art, like color design, like it all looks cool.
Yeah, I'm fine with all that.
But it's boring and it doesn't make Dylan happy. So
no, it didn't make me happy at all.
Maybe all we care about is Dylan happy. Oh, the first review I saw, not recommended. I don't understand what went wrong. I was really looking forward to the game. It should have been an easy home run, or 3 count as the case may be. They literally took 2 things I love, wrestling and RPGs, put them together and somehow made me hate it. That's just the first paragraph.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. There's that's a big one. Let's see. They say near constant QTEs. None of the moves can be skipped or sped up because of the QTEs. Yep.
The dev responded, apparently.
Well, what did they say? View response.
Hey, thank you for being excited about the game.
Yeah. Heavily inspired by the combat design of games of Super Mario RPG and Legend of Dragoon. To keep you focused so you don't experience checking out and spamming the button during combat. But all you're doing is making the most basic fight slow.
Yeah. QTEs do not make or break the game, so if you don't do them, you can't proceed. That breaks the game. If you don't, then there's no fucking game.
I think they meant to say if you don't do them, it's not like you can't proceed. Because they say it's only there to spice up your attacks and gimmicks, making them more powerful and effective. So, yeah, you can not do them, but you're still moving just as slow.
Many people like you don't care about this system. Straight up.
So they're adding a button to autocomplete all QT. That's not the problem. That's not the problem, my friend.
They literally just said, so we got feedback. People don't like the game. So we hope that other people like the game. We incorporated all of this because we wanted players who like them to continue to enjoy them, and those who do not to be bothered.
I clicked out of it, so I can't find it. I think it was Arrogant Bastard was the review poster.
Oh, is it? It is. That's amazing. Hey! Hi, AB! Thank you and stay
oh my
sweaty.
God. I know at some point we're just sitting here reading other reviews, but this reviewer, their first sentence puts it perfectly. Harlinson, thank you for this, on Steam says, while this game starts out very charming and quite fun, it very quickly stops respecting your time. Ooh. That is such a perfect way to put that. Harlinson brings up another point too. When you get a new character, a new party member, they don't start at like a level that makes sense for your party. They just start from level 1. So the only way to level them is to have them in the fight. So now the fights are going to go slower because they're weak, and you have to catch them up to your level. Why? Why are you doing that?
A lot of people aren't making it past 2 hours. I'm getting to some people who aren't making it past half an hour.
Well, okay, that's half an hour. That's not enough. I don't think.
My first negative review on Steam. You made this man go out of his way. First, the game was delayed by 2 weeks, the day before I intended to buy it. Excited to finally buy it yesterday. I did just that. 24 minutes into the game, it crashed. Refunded. I have to leave this review up until I see some patch changes or something. Man, broken. A developer has responded to this review.
Seems like the developer responded to every single review.
Thank you for trying it. I know it was not easy as a fellow game dev. They're a dev? Regardless, unforeseen technical issues forced us to move the delay, and we didn't want to deliver a game that was not presentable. This is not presentable.
It's not presentable.
I'm also sorry you experienced a crash early in the game. Would you call that presentable? We'll make sure that such instances are fixed and addressed by our dev team. Doubt.
I feel like we're becoming like a podcast that I see on TikTok, where the podcast is just like reading "Am I the asshole" on Reddit? That's what we're becoming here.
Our voices got to be better than those AI chat voices,
no,
though.
I'm not talking about those. I'm saying I have seen those though, but I'm talking about people like us.
What, on the lives? Chat, what do you think?
No, they're not live. Maybe they're live, but they don't talk like that. It's just like us.
Look.
We're just becoming that. We're stealing other people's words and turning into content. Look at us.
Regardless, the true fact of the matter is that on September 8th, 2023, Fae Farm comes out on PC and Switch.
What a segue into notable game releases. I wish I was playing Fae Farm. That seems like a nice little cozy game that won't do this to me.
Why don't you hop back in Harvestella? Why don't you go take a look at it?
It's a good game.
That took over your life for a little bit.
It did. All right, here we go. NBA 2K24 is coming out September 8th to PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, and Switch.
Dylan, what's this last one? I've heard of it, but I don't remember. The last one,
Gunbrella, is coming on September 13th to just Nintendo Switch and PC. It's like a little side-scrolling platforming game where you have an umbrella that's also a gun. You use it to block shit. You use it to shoot shit. It looks like fun.
My friend Pedro is a good game.
This I don't think this had any sort of banana.
That's okay. It's still a good game. Thank you, Dylan, for that very informative, pleasant review.
I feel like I threw this together. I probably missed some shit.
It happens.
Yes, I didn't get super far into it, but I feel like my criticisms were valid enough to not continue.
It just when you forget shit like that, it also goes to show just how forgettable the game is at the end of the day. We were at the outro the other episode, and I'm like, oh, by the way, there's this in Atlas Fallen, and there's this. If you made it this far, it doesn't matter. But there's this too. I might as well say it.
Yeah, it that is a good point. It shows how forgettable a game. It's not like we're sitting here where we don't have enough time to talk about everything we want to talk about because we're so excited to.
Right.
Ugh. All right. Sorry, Lyle couldn't be here for the anger.
And I'm sorry that I'm here